Just...
What? No. It's a code. He dropped his cell phone in Key Biscayne. His cell phone number is the key. Take a look at the digits. Okay, you got your first number, that's your first word. Second number, 9, you move on 9 words. That's your second word. Third number, 9 again. Another 9, you move on. Then 9, then 2, then 9, then 5, and 10, so on and so on to get an entirely different message.
So who came up with this encryption, a 12-year-old?
No. I was 13.
Okay. So 19929555871 and go.
Proof of sabotage at the highest level of government. Trust no one.
Pawn, voices in his head, we know. We are taking action behind the scenes. CNN was set up. Stupid Q. And then he responds to it with liberal laws, end of MSM, mainstream media. So, the next few posts are these sec tests. Log run, comms off, sec test, comms good, nice try. I don't know what that means. That has something to do with the way he's posting. But here's the eye-opener when I saw this. Stanislav Lunev, the bridge. Payback for today, Q. Now that one, does anyone know who that is? He is the highest ranking Soviet defector from the Soviet Union, who's not only sold Russian nuclear secrets to the United States, basically everything about the Red Army. He is, as you read it here, he's a former Soviet military officer, the highest ranking GRU officer to defect from Russia to the United States. Essentially, he is a spy that defected to the United States. He has been in witness protection from as of the year 2000 as a consultant to the FBI and CIA. But here is even more interesting. He disclosed a plan that Russia had with poisoning the Potomac River with chemical or biological weapons, targeting the residents of Washington, D.C. This was a plan that Russia was going to do, sort of a chemical attack. They were going to set up poison near the tributaries to the Potomac and poison the whole entire river. Now, Q has been making posts about watching the water. Pretty eye-raising now, isn't it? I think I know what he means by that now.
So after seeing this video here, it made me want to look this guy up. This Lunev, I found this podcast which pretty much explains this technology that is out there. This is like obviously way advanced that we know of, but he pretty much explains that it causes earthquakes, and it also causes like voice to skull technology, mind control. Pay attention. Scary.
Weapons or seismic energy for the destruction of cities, villages, and the whole areas. In Russia, this weapon was tested several times in Caucasus, last one in Chechnya a couple years ago, with huge destruction, and looks like a natural earthquake, but it was a seismic weapon. Plus other futuristic types of weapons like radio waves, long-range radio waves, which could develop some kind of special human behavior behind the front line. And using these weapons, it's possible to depress or to make very aggressive huge number of people, which would be necessary for Russian military in time of war.
Are you talking, Colonel Lunev, are you talking about some type of weapon that could be used in mind control? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, this one and low radio frequency waves, which could be used like weapons, and many others. And there is no secret that Russian scientists just now are working very hard to develop biological and irritation weapons which could build zombies or soldiers without any requests for Russian population, and to depress foreigners or citizens residents of countries which are considering by Russian military as a potential Russian military adversaries or the enemies.
So you're saying that the Russians are developing technological weapons that could psychologically depress a large area, like an entire city?
Yes, it's from one side, but from another side to increase psychological and psychological activity of its own soldiers.
So they could agitate their own soldiers to become more aggressive?
Yes, and depress hostile forces.
Well, I know in my research, Colonel Lunev, that both Russia and the United States, the CIA, the GRU, and the KGB have devoted a lot of research and investigation into what is called psychotronic weapons, mind control, psychotronic generators. Is it true that Russia has psychotronic generators?
Unfortunately, it's very little known to American public because American mainstream press or liberal press doesn't want to inform American people about real events development in countries which are very strange, American friends and allies. Weapons, you name how did you say it?
Psychotronic?
Psychotronic
generators.
Weapons. In Russian it sounds a little bit different, but it's already existing. And actually it was developed about 15-20 years ago. And about 10 years ago, these weapons were operational, of course, not for large area and large number of people, but already was used against a group of people consists of hundreds, sometimes thousands of people.
There was actually a story at one time that the Russians were aiming a psychotronic generator at the White House in Washington, and that some of the emotional problems experienced by President Richard Nixon were caused by this psychotronic generator that was based in Washington, D.C., aimed at the White House. Do you have any knowledge of whether that's a true story or whether that's just a myth?
No, I heard that some generators, it was a long time ago, when it was beginning of this research, they been deployed in foreign countries, especially to influence some group of people in foreign countries in the favor of Soviet government. And of course, they had very high side effects, and instead of doing sometime what was necessary, they did absolutely different and depressed people and actually organized some kind of mass panic of different groups of people. And these weapons, of course, just now is developed much more higher than in time of Mr. Nixon was American president.
In 2008, in the Just a Messenger series before Barack became president, out of the sea shall, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you. And out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. And great shall be the destruction of that city. That's part of the utterance. If you want to go see the whole thing, go watch Just a Messenger Part 2, I believe. It's on Secret Mystery Busted channel. Anyway, so here we go. So let me show you what's up. So here is the old $10 bill with that line on it. Very important. So now let me show you the new $10 bill. Let me show you how very different it is. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, look. Okay, they've taken off the double line, and look how they faded. They washed out the edge of the tree. There's no line there, is it? And that's because that is not a tree. That is a tidal wave coming over a building. And that's why they took that double line off. Now, if you look at you listen to the prophetic utterance from 2008, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, the hand of the oppressor, which is Satan, has been lifted against you, and out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Okay, that's a nuke, guys. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. Okay, well, look at this $10 bill that came out to replace the other $10 bill. So to unroll the scroll and to understand the Bible, you've got to turn it upside down. You've got to turn everything upside down in order to see it. Now I'm going to apply that knowledge. Okay, so when you make a pentagram out of all the U.S. currency, I'm going to scroll down. I'm just going to show you out of all the U.S. currency, and then you turn it upside down, it becomes the sigil of Baphomet. So these are all the bombings on your money that I've meticulously matched up on a computer, meticulously cut out. The Lord God showed it to me, so it's not knowledge from man, it's knowledge from God. So let's look at this one right here, because this is where we're going next right now. Let's just have a look at this. Okay, so let me show you how to understand and perceive this. Okay, so if you take your hand and you put it on your computer screen right across here and you cover all this part up, just cover the point up right there, you'll see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-story building with a tidal wave coming over it because they changed the bill. See? Okay, so I showed you the 10. I showed you the 100. Let me put this over here. I showed you the $100 bill. I showed you the 10. And let me show you what's about to happen. Okay, y'all remember this video, don't you? There you go. There we go. Okay, so fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind.
Here it goes. There it is. See it? See how it changed? See
There's that devouring wind right there. That's on the new 100. Guys, can't argue it. There it goes. There's the devouring wind. On the $10 bill, is the water as high as the walls of Jerusalem. See it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I want you to be able to perceive this. If you draw a line straight across here, right here, those are the stories. These big white lines, they make water. That's a reflection of the building in the water. That's how the artist did it. It's like, I'm going to make this look like a reflection. And so these lines make the reflection of this building in this water right here. Okay, now watch this. So here's a movie. I think this is the day after, and here's all this water rushing between the buildings. And here is the new $100 bill. I mean, what are you kidding? I mean, seriously. There's the new $100 bill, and there's the movie the day after. Don't forget, Satan makes the movies, guys. I mean, see, a lot of people like, oh, the Illuminati. No. Y'all are way off on the Illuminati thing. It's Satan using humans as puppets. Everyone's just a puppet. That's all there is. A human whose body is a puppet. And Satan is using them to carry out his will. That's it. That's what he does. So here is, who was the one that ran against Donald Trump? Hillary, I'm sorry, I'm a complete psychopath, Clinton. And her husband, Bill Clinton, there's Bill Clinton sitting with John Podesta right there, and they're in North Korea. And by the way, they were giving him, go look at it, $5 billion for 2 reactors. Get it? 5 billion, 2. It's like, dude, they love their numbers. So there's John Podesta. I'm a spirit cooker Podesta. There's Bill Clinton. God have mercy on these guys. I want you to notice the color tie he's wearing. Look, just take a look at these guys. Look at their ties. Let's admit, we don't want to falsely accuse anybody. So let's look at that tie. Take a look at the tie. See what he's wearing on his suit. Take a look at that tie. Okay, there you go. Okay, so here is Bill. Here's all these guys in Korea, North Korea. Here's a big mural, but there's Bill Clinton in front of the same mural, but they don't show it with all the buildings getting wiped out, do they? Well, let's look at his tie. Let's look at his tie, and let's pick his tie as a reference point. It's always smart to have a reference point. Okay, so we're going to look at their ties, and then we're going to go down here. And in Korea, North Korea, to give them $5 billion and 2 nuclear reactors so they could be the fall guy. Yeah, he's wearing that blue tie right there. And there's that dude right there wearing that exact tie. So now we have vetted it. We have vetted the information. It is clear and concise. There's no doubt about it. We have busted this guy completely.
Mysterious metal towers have started popping up all across New York, but no one knows why. The bizarre metal structures are being erected around tunnels and bridges around the city. A local named Alyssa added, "I'm going to guess that it's not just a decoration." The local watchdog group eventually revealed that the towers contain fiber optics and will be used by Homeland Security, potentially to counter terrorists. New Yorkers are now terrified they will be exploited for ID facial recognition surveillance technology across the city. More towers are being erected around the city, but they still do not know what spy surveillance technology is included inside them.
Residents who say they suspect there is much more going on with these towers than meets the eye wonder, will they ever know what's going on inside them?
I'm going to guess it's probably not just a decoration.
It's a bit mind-boggling that the MTA is approving $100 million for what appears to us to be big decorative pylons.
John Caney is leader of the watchdog group Reinvent Albany.
What we're asking for is transparency from the MTA.
We demanded answers from MTA Chairman Joe Loda. Some of your own board members say they don't know the specifics.
The base of these new pieces that are going up include whatever fiber optics are necessary for those Homeland Security items.
In other words, anti-terror technology. Could it one day include facial recognition? We don't know.
Truth Unveiled here, and today I have some interesting stuff to share with you. I'm going to be talking about all of the crazy, strange, and mysterious things that are going on in America and have been taking place within this past week. And we're going to be starting with the mysterious metal towers that are popping up in New York, but officials are claiming they won't offer any details even though we know what this really is. Now this just gives you a picture of how they look, and truthfully folks, it's getting to the point where they're putting it in front of your face, whether you know it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, and they're at the point now where they could care less if people know what they're doing and whether or not if they're actually spying on them, because yes they are, and we're going to be proving that in the video to come. And who's really behind all this? As you're going to see, none other than the same alphabet soups over and over. But this CBS New York report says mysterious metal towers are popping up at local tunnels, and soon they'll start appearing at bridges too. But even people on the MTA board in charge of the towers can't say why they're being used or what's in them. That's very interesting and suspicious indeed, especially because they know exactly what they're being used for. But it's said that the tall metal towers quickly appeared up after the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel toll booths came down. We don't really know what the purpose of this is for. He said, it's a $100 million MTA project shrouded in secrecy with 18 of them for tunnels and bridges. So what are they exactly? A better question about all of this is, why is this happening in New York City out of all places? Are you starting to notice something very interesting and suspicious indeed? What are they getting ready for? Because then it says some MTA board members, including New York City Transportation Commissioner, say they know too little about the towers, even with half the money already spent and some of the towers already up. Oh, so they're spending $100 million on something they claim to know nothing about. Yeah, that sounds very logical indeed, doesn't it? And according to the New York City Transportation Commissioner, quote, a lot of the board members felt they didn't have all the details they would have wanted, myself included. Residents suspect that there's much more going on in the tower than meets the eye and wonder if they'll ever really know what's going on inside of them. Oh, we'll know soon enough, because it's definitely not decoration whatsoever. And if you think it is, it's time to think again.